Well, I think this is exactly it. I mean, you could deliver all the economic stimulus and monetary stimulus you want right now, but if we're all still operating under social distancing, if we all still have limitations in terms of, what kind of activities we can get to and where we can spend that money, you're not going to see any of that inflation delivered. And it's really impossible at this point for anyone to offer any significantly solid estimates as to what's going to happen, because we just don't know what is the appropriate level that the airline industry is going to have to reduce capacity to. What about in the restaurant and the hospitality side? What about all the ancillary services that go into these industries? Until we figure out what the new supply side is, then we can figure out how much demand we can stimulate. And from there, we can deal with the inflation side. What I would say, though, is different than perhaps looking at 08, 09 and looking at how difficult it has been to generate inflation out of the financial crisis that came through there. There is a significant supply shock on this crisis itself. And so it does look fairly certain that we are going to have less supply. And because of that, it will be easier for us to generate inflation than would otherwise be the case. That still doesn't mean we're going to be in a stagflation scenario, and it still doesn't mean we need to think that central banks aren't going to be easing for a significant period of time, because I think we're looking for at least 5 years before we see any of the major central banks return to hiking. But I think we do want to be cognizant of you're not going to see that inflation now. However, I think if we're looking out 2 years, it is more possible that we can get back to somewhat normal inflation. But look at all the central banks that are also talking about running inflation hot now to catch up. So just getting to 2% inflation is no longer going to be enough.